We are rolling.
Knack Hardware and Lounge brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1527, April 18th, 2025. We hit a record high of 89 degrees on this day 40 years ago, 1985. And it was 21 degrees on the morning of this day in 1953. And on this day,
April 18th.
in 2003, almost 7 inches of snow.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reuvers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Haidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Soucheray.
We're right in, this is the middle day of 3 in which there were the most ice outs recorded on the 17th, 18th, and 19th of April. Today, Minnetonka went out in 1855, 1913, 1917, 1926, 1928, 1897, 1933, 1989, and 1997. White Bear went out on this day in 1933, 1997, and 2 years ago on this day, 2023. And those conclude. And then there's a big number of ice outs tomorrow, and then they start to fade again. This is the peak of the ice out season. I think Gary F. must be listening to recently to some of our off-air conversations about country music.
Oh.
Because I recognized this instantly. This is, he sent us the lyrics, I believe it's from a Sunvolt song called Windfall.
Yeah. Yes, Joe.
Trying to make it far enough to the next time zone, few and far between, past the midnight hour. Never feel alone, you're not really alone. Switching it over to AM, searching for a truer sound. Can't recall the call letters, steel guitar and settle down. Catching an all-night station somewhere in Louisiana. It sounds like 1963, but for now it sounds like heaven. May the wind take your troubles away. And instantly I thought, boy, where have I heard that? Well, it's Sunvolt.
Yes.
And then they splintered off and became different groups. And from Sunvolt became Wilco.
No, well, you're kind of sort of a little bit. Yeah, maybe back up a little. Ease off the throttle, my friend. It started, it was Uncle Tupelo as a 3-piece, then Uncle Tupelo as a 5-piece, then there were some differences, and then it was Sunvolt and Wilco. That's how it went.
I'm a big Wilco fan.
Yeah, great band.
Yeah.
In fact, that every time I ran the board for Rook, I would use it to intro Johnny, and he said, "You play this every time." I remember the one song that Wilco had that we used as a bump.
Yes, I do.
Anymore?
I don't care anymore. Yeah,
it's a great song.
Yeah.
My favorite is Uncle Tupelo Punch Drunk, which is a raucous maybe 2.5 minute song.
Howard writes, Joe, I might be a little late to the party as I've been unable to listen regularly this week. In a recent episode of GL, you indicated that in order to be a truly refined leftist, one must make up things to worry about. In this case, it was the relative shortage of eggs for coloring for Easter and supplanting the shortfall with potatoes. If you look at it differently, it's a ray of hope. The left is usually busy trying to either dismantle what they deem to be a quaint notion, or they're trying to fill a God-shaped hole in their psyche with things like climate change and DEI. Not so in this case. They are still proclaiming that God is alive, but are suggesting the use of an alternative to symbolize his renewal and his triumph over death. So if they want to color Easter tubers, let them. You know what? That's a guy with an optimistic outlook on life, Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. It's Positive Friday. What's this one?
I like the phrase God-shaped hole in your psyche. Is that what he said?
Yeah.
That's a great phrase.
The song is called You Never Know, not I Don't Care.
That's right.
Yeah.
Great song. It's getting to be 15 years old now, but it's a great song.
Yep.
nothing beats the 1 year that we played Tennessee Whiskey every day at 3:25, much to the dismay of Joe.
And didn't we also
Every day.
exchange turns of who could ramp the song the
Oh,
best?
it's impossible to ramp.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Kenny did an entire traffic report over the buck 25, whatever ramp it was. It was
I think it's only 25, isn't it? I think it's a 25-second ramp.
Right. You might be right.
The UK has done something that I would imagine all GLers, including myself, approve of. The UK has decided in the courts that a female is decided at birth. End of story.
Okay.
If you're born a female, you're a female,
And
no matter what you do with the rest of your time.
And I'm sure this news was received with rationale. And
Well, male rapists can no longer claim to be women under a Supreme Court ruling in the UK. I think that's positive. It comes after the Supreme Court this week concluded that transgender women are not biological women under equality laws, in a move hailed as a victory for common sense. And I think a long overdue one. It's amazing that had to get to the courts, isn't it?
yeah.
Something as basic as that had to get to the courts. Currently, the National Police Chiefs Council, like this, despite the guidance, at least 12 police forces in the UK have allowed rape suspects and other sexual offenders to self-declare their preferred gender. I guess that will end now. This means that men can call themselves a woman and get recorded as such on official crime stats for violent sexual offenses. It's hoping that this landmark ruling will end police recording rapists as women, even though the legal definition of the crime requires a Johnson. You got to have a deal. The move is also expected to put a stop to male-born transgender inmates in female cells. Well, this is amazing. This is we live in strange times. It's something as instinctive as this had to get to the courts, but it did. And I guess it was based on a case. A debate over suspects adopting their preferred gender after being charged was led by public outrage over something called the Isla Bryson scandal. Are you guys familiar with that?
Why does that name ring a bell?
No.
Isla was born as Adam Graham. The double rapist charged changed gender and was sent to a woman's prison upon conviction. Bryson was subsequently moved to a male prison following pressure on the Scottish government. Latest prison surface data for 2023-2024 shows there were 295 transgender prisoners in England and Wales, with 51 in female prisons and 244 in male prisons. Of the transgender prisoners in male jails, 225 self-identified as transgender female, while 48 inmates in the women's prison self-identified as transgender male. A campaign group called for Women Scotland went against the Scottish government to bring the row to the Supreme Court. In an 88-page ruling, Judges Lord Hodge, Lady Rose, and Lady Simler found the definition of sex in the Equality Act of 2010 makes clear that the concept of sex is binary. A person is either a woman or a man. Lord Hodge stated it was the unanimous decision of the court that the definition of the terms women and sex in the Equality Act of 2010 referred to biological women and biological sex. All right. The top judge added that the act still offers protection from discrimination for trans people. It came following a long-running debate surrounding trans rights and women's spaces, foghorn spaces. That's a new addition to the deal, led by several prominent activists. Anything else I can tell you? I think it's pretty good news, huh?
You want to be really, really shocked? And it took me a while to find this, but I know I saw it this morning. I finally did. From Politico, headline, Californians oppose trans athletes in women's sports. It goes on.
They're certainly led by the wrong people for for
It
that.
goes on to say 65% of the state's likely voters and nearly half of Democrats support such rules, according to a poll released Thursday by the Nonpartisan Public Policy Institute of California. Those rules meaning you're born with sex must match the team you're playing with.
I don't say that I'm thrilled out of any glee or intent to harm a trans person.
No, it's not that at all.
I'm filled with glee because it's only common sense. Common sense has prevailed. It rarely does in this day and age.
And it's what's truly fair to women.
Yeah. And so the ruling opens doors for more tailored safeguarding policies within women's spaces. But these may lead to accusations of discrimination from trans activists if seen as overly restrictive. Women's refuges and domestic violence shelters may introduce stricter policies to ensure that biological women's safety is prioritized. Wouldn't women be in favor of the protection of women? That's not true with Mysterians in this country, but it only would be common sense. Harry Potter author and defiant feminist campaigner J.K. Rowling was among those who welcomed the decision. She has long been an advocate for a group called For Women Scotland, which she also believed to have backed with funding. And Rowling paid for this dearly. She came under fire for comments made in the past towards trans people, with the author bravely standing firm in the face of online pressure. In 2020, Rowling slammed the growing trend of replacing biological sex with gender identity. Her stance that declared sex is real led to death threats, but also molded her into a figurehead for the gender-critical movement. Activists accused her of transphobia. She put it all on the line for this, and she has prevailed. And congratulations. Chief Constable Rachel Swan, chair of the National Police Chiefs Council's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, said, "I welcome the clarity that the decision at the Supreme Court has provided, and we will be reviewing our policies and procedures in accordance with the outcome." And congratulations to the UK. I guess it was Scotland. I bet they all wore those neat judges' wigs they have, you know. They look like rope.
Powdered wigs.
Powdered wigs. And here's a picture of this Isla man. She's now, I can safely say she's a man now that the courts have ruled. She looks like a woman, but she can no longer claim to be a woman under the ruling.
That's a man.
Yeah. So I think that's fantastic. It's about time. And I got a wonderful note. I take it today you have a new GLer of the Week, Masters Maples winner.
We do.
Well, because I just got a wonderful note from Ruth, Rocket's Red Glare, who was thanking us for the gift. What are you doing?
Looking for Chris.
Looking for Chris.
I hear his voice.
I'm
but I
right
don't-
here.
There he is.
Don't mind me. I'm just trying to change something.
Joe, can I just pause for a second
Of course.
to stop the emails?
Of course.
Isla is pronounced Isla.
Yeah, Isla, Isla.
Potato.
Yeah, so you can put your keyboards away.
Did you get a lot of commentary about that?
Yeah,
Put your
nonstop. It's just
keyboards away.
they're looking for things to hate us about, Joe.
Don't we give you enough reason?
Give you my whole life, and this is what I get in return.
There's really a strange spelling of a female name in Scotland. Siobhan or never mind. I can't think of the author who I like a great deal, so never mind.
We had a young man in our high school. His last name was pronounced Scrotum.
Oh no,
Really?
no.
I bet he's getting psychiatric care.
Yeah,
Is he okay, I wonder?
Scrotum. I haven't heard from him.
Probably in prison.
What was his first
Poor
name?
guy.
I'm not. No,
Wrinkle?
He didn't ask for the attention.
Wrinkle, he says. Jesus. Honest to God. Where is your civility?
Long gone.
It's really
long
long.
And he said goodbye to that in the late
Can't
90s.
even remember having it. Maybe when I was a little kid.
Get it? It was pronounced scrotum.
Well, was the real pronunciation scrotum?
No, it was pronounced scrotum. Yeah.
Well, that's, you got to have your name.
And when the poor kid, when he did roll call for the teacher,
Yeah.
especially a sub, oof, that was a little tricky.
Sometimes it would come out scrotum.
That was a little tricky.
Well, good. I'm sure he's doing well, and I hope he is. Those things can
like
be
the guy
tough on
that-
a kid.
Wasn't there a commercial with a guy at a job interview calling the guy Mr. Dumbass? And his name was Dumas?
Oh, yeah.
By the way, I'm not hiring you. And by the way, my name is Dumas.
It's Dumas. Hey, dumbass.
Wait, on our show, Dumbass is
I was going to say,
Matthew.
I was going to say, GLers think that that's us
Yeah.
sometimes.
Joe is Asshat.
Yep.
Chris is Jackass.
Yep.
Matthew is Dumbass. John is Wise Ass. And I am Smartass.
There you go.
And I got stuck with ass hat,
Yes.
Well, yeah, you're the leader.
so I'm wearing the hat.
Correct.
So I told you guys you need guys for everything, and you need a lawyer guy. Put Bradshaw and Bryant personal injury attorneys in your telephone contacts. 800-770-7008. Insurance companies and adjusters can be tough to deal with, so having someone on your side is important. That's what the team from Bradshaw and Bryant does. They take care of it for you. Mike Bryant from Bradshaw and Bryant and his team are there to explain your rights, represent you, help you in a tough time. That initial consultation, of course, is free to you. For 6 consecutive years, Mike has been recognized as a super lawyer and has been named among Minnesota's top 40 personal injury lawyers by Minnesota Law and Politics. They hope you're never in an accident, but if you do get in one and it's going to end up being terribly confusing, call Bradshaw and Bryant. That's 800-770-7008, or you can go online at minnesotapersonalinjury.com. And Bradshaw and Bryant remind you, don't be part of the problem. Don't text and drive or drive distracted. That's just common sense from Bradshaw and Bryant.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
When you figure in what it takes to keep your lawn healthy, if you're going to do it yourself, you need the spreader, you need the sprayer, you need the solutions, you need this, that, the other. You got to be out there 4 or 5 times a year. If you want, that's fine. If you want to do that and still have the worst lawn on the block, go ahead, do that. It's a free country. However, if you're a GLer and you take pride in your space,
That's just gonna
give me that foghorn. Come on. It's so easy. Just click onto professionalturf.com. They're already busy. From what I understand, they're doing something called pre-emergence on existing and new clients' yards. They're also still out there assessing lawns and customizing programs. We're talking slow-release fertilizer and weed control programs that are giving GLers the best lawns on the block in the neighborhood, all guaranteed for superior results. Oh, and of course, environmentally safe. But what this means to you, simply put, no more weeds, no more bare spots, no thin, sad, pathetic grass. Just log on to professionalturf.com, sign up for that free in-person lawn analysis. And while you're there, spend a little time, surf around, check out their landscape projects. They do amazing work. They also service irrigation systems. Get on the computer right now, professionalturf.com.
May I promote the Garage Logic Town Council in this sense? We are going to unveil our GL of the Week here at some point in the episode, but last break is a perfect example of why you should join the Town Council. We were enjoying some music, and then when the song was faded out, Joe
Thought it was
started
the
talking as if we were back on the air.
I just
Those
Let
are
me
the
guess.
treats you get.
Is today's winner Gary F.? I think it's Gary, our frequent emailer.
Just think what a safe space has come to mean. It means a place where like-minded people come together to say how much they hate everybody.
Wait.
Perfect.
That's why
That's what a
Kenny
safe space is.
That's why Kenny and I do our shows from home. This is our safe space.
Hold on, say that again. I want to write this down.
A safe space has come to mean a place where like-minded people gather to say how much they hate everybody. Do you recall this is a new Bill Glahn take on the Feeding Our Future scandal. Do you recall a video that featured Feeding Our Future CEO Amy Bach being serenaded with singing and dancing and being presented an award?
Yes.
That's within the last 2 months or so that we were made privy to that video. The occasion of the community celebration was the victory of the free food nonprofit Feeding Our Future over the State Department of Education in a lawsuit where the department was represented by Keith Ellison. This was the lawsuit that the Feeding Our Future people filed because their scam money was drying up. And they went and bitched and moaned and filed a suit. Unless noted otherwise, no one mentioned below has been accused of any wrongdoing in the case. A full 56-minute video can be seen below. The song and dance segment is included. The entire hour-long video takes on new significance in the wake of the Amy Bach courtroom trial for fraud and the emergence from that trial of a December 11, 2021 hour-long audio recording featuring Keith Ellison and a group of individuals with Feeding Our Future. The master of ceremonies for the celebration and throughout the video is Khalid Omar. Khalid serves as a board member for the Dar al-Farouk Mosque in Bloomington, according to that organization's most recent IRS Form 990. On December 20, 2021, Khalid donated the maximum $2,500 to the political campaign of Keith Ellison following that December 11, 2021 meeting with Ellison and Feeding Our Future. To be clear, Ellison himself does not appear, nor is he mentioned in the video posted above. No, for all we know, Keith didn't attend that party, that celebration for winning the lawsuit. The first speaker in the June 2021 celebration is local businessman Mahad Hassan. He also donated the $2,500 maximum to Ellison on December 20, 2021. Minneapolis City Council member Jamal Osman, Ward 6, is speaking at the celebration. Osman founded the nonprofit Stigma Free International, which he transferred to a group later convicted in the Feeding Our Future scandal. Amy Bach, defendant number one, she appears in the celebratory video. Another speaker mentions the company Comfort Services, which was controlled by Gandhi Mohammed, defendant number 69. Speaking,
You know what this reminds me of? Have you ever seen that tribute to George Harrison where anybody who's anybody shows up on stage?
Yeah.
That's what this was.
What number are you?
Yeah.
Speaking at 3228 of the tape is Hannah Marakegan, defendant number 47 and conviction number 3. State Senator Omar Fateh begins around 3402. At 3419, Senator Fateh mentions for the first time the name Ikram Mohammed, defendant number 63. Ikram, along with her husband, defendant number 67, were both donors to Senator Fateh's re-election campaign. Ikram and Gandhi are siblings. You got to go to MIT to keep this straight.
Yeah.
In 2025, Senator Fateh is running for mayor of Minneapolis, and Osmond has endorsed Fateh's mayoral bid. At 3815, a staffer speaking on behalf of Minneapolis Congresswoman Ilhan Omar can be heard. The man who speaks at 4448 is an imam associated with Dar al-Farouk. The more you know.
Do you think the next day local politicos who weren't invited were calling each other? Ellison's on the phone with Walls. Were you invited? I wasn't invited.
Where's
How come
the
we weren't
party?
invited?
Where's the party?
Yeah.
Where's the party?
Well, you missed it. It was last night.
Truly, truly amazing.
But is it? Nothing is surprising with this anymore.
Okay.
No, we're at the point where everything's just ridiculous.
Will it be amazing if Omar Fateh becomes mayor? Or will that also be not surprising.
But that's shut it down moment for the
If
city.
Omar Fateh becomes mayor, the future could not possibly be an American future.
No.
I don't think I'm saying anything terribly untoward. If Omar Fateh becomes the mayor of Minneapolis, Minneapolis will no longer be an American city until Omar Fateh runs out of other people's money.
Do you really want to pucker up?
Yes.
Might as well, Kenny. That's why we're here.
Where do you suppose Ellison will land in 4 to 8 years?
Not counting prison?
I don't think he's going to prison. He might go to the governor's mansion.
Could be.
Might be a senator.
Someone made I don't know if it was a comment or an email, but apparently I did not know this until this emailer alerted me to it, because, we allowed Muslim prayer, right? Isn't it twice a day in the city of Minneapolis? I know we talked about it.
Yeah, it's over in Cedar Riverside. I believe there are some chimes that sound.
But do you also know that churches are not allowed to ring bells in the city of
I
Minneapolis?
am aware of that.
I did not know that.
Speaking of that, I know the Twin Cities pretty well. A church in St. Paul was struck by lightning yesterday, and its steeple burned.
That was
That's-
not. I did not feel good watching that.
I'm unfamiliar with that church.
If you're of the Christian religion and you want to be spooked, check out that video. Ooh,
Oh, it was the fires of Lucifer.
oh, I did not like that, Joe. That made me uncomfortable.
And the spire itself was the only thing on fire.
Yeah,
And
that's what
strong yellow flames were
Yeah.
shooting out the pointed top of the
yeah,
spire.
yeah.
The historic church on Farrington Street in Frogtown? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and I know St. Agnes is over there, and I know a bunch of. I didn't recognize. It's a Norwegian church. It's very historic. It's beautiful. I hope they can repair their steeple. I was unaware of any lightning strikes in the Twin Cities. Was it lightning pretty good?
Trinity Norwegian Evangelical Lutheran Church dates back to 1902.
Yeah.
I have it all in my news right now.
John will have it for us.
Yeah, I'm trying to write it to put a positive spin on it. So sorry.
How are you going to
How do you do that?
Yeah.
I know.
The house of the Lord burning down?
Little reference, to other
The day before Good Friday?
You know what the flames were, though? They were eerie.
Yeah. It was
Well, I'm seeing a video of it right now.
a
Well,
creepy look.
It's a creepy look.
We had
Just
a
the
ton of-
steeple.
Ton of lightning up here, Joe. You didn't have any down there?
No, boy, if I
Well, wait a minute. How did Frogtown have lightning and you didn't?
Well, that's not. It's it's over there.
You're over there in Frog Hollow,
Lightning,
right?
Frogtown's up by St. Cloud.
Swedetown?
Frogtown. Do you know that the more I think about it, the more we haven't spoken about it enough? Do you know the governor intends to, I hope he's not successful, cut $109 million from the budget for private education? Well, a couple of thoughts. You can find that amount of money in his couch cushions from the fraud. It's a pittance. But it's been a pittance thrown to private schools for 50 years. The $109 million is all they get. And it covers some things that taxpayers are paying for anyway.
Right.
Busing, some textbooks, standardized tests, a nurse in case Walz mandates a vaccine. You should have a nurse for that.
Yep.
The point being, I think this reflects Walz's finding private schools disagreeable to his ideological predisposition,
That the public school eats up.
which
Yes.
we've learned more and more about as he becomes more and more revealed to the public. I think he's a firm believer in the state must control all education. And taxpayers, you euphorians and Mysterians who think that tax money shouldn't go to the public, to the private schools, it's tax money already paid. So somebody that sacrifices to send their kid to a Catholic grade school, for example, is also paying for the kid to go to a public grade school.
I'm trying to find
So
it.
it doesn't. It's all BS, and then they use this disingenuous BS about, well, we must have a realistic and sensible bottom line for the budget. Pal, you blew a $17 billion budget. You have leaked more than $600 million out of the state capitol. Who are you kidding, you lying fraud?
Our guy Kendall Qualls had a great tweet about this very thing. What was this? This was 3 days ago, Joe. We've experienced 8 years of academic decline in public schools under Governor Walz. While he finds it okay to spend nearly $500 million to renovate new offices at the Capitol, he eliminates subsidies for private school parents that have been in place since 1969 under Democrat and Republican governors. These cuts demonstrate Walz is nothing more than a vindictive tyrant. Spot on.
The other thing to realize is, and it's a sad note, it could not absolutely happen today that the legislature would grant money to some private schools for busing and books and testing. It absolutely would not happen. It happened in 1969 when a bipartisan effort came to their senses and said, well, what the hell? The same bus going by Holy Rosary is going by John Adams Public School. Let's drop the kids off.
Right.
Boom, you got equality in busing. Then in 1975, again, bipartisan action, when they came to their senses and realized that private education absolutely saves the state money, they threw some token pocket change at the private schools, and that's a 50-year program. And this buffoon comes along, and all he's doing is reflecting his personal vendetta against the ideological notion of private education.
Right. And this is
They don't have a private education in China. I don't think. Maybe they do. I don't think. But they don't have it in China.
And how dangerous of a road is this to go down if you're Governor Walz? And you're really going to start splitting, you know what I mean?
Is it worth mentioning that homeschooled gets nothing?
Right, and
you might get a few tax breaks, but other than that, you get nothing.
Well, I was going to say busing, but they don't need busing. They're homeschooled. I would think the homeschools are provided with the instructional materials and some textbooks.
Chris, are you sitting down?
I am.
Yes, church bells can ring in Minneapolis.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
$109 million, and that's going to put a dent in a $6 billion deficit. Why is there a $6 billion deficit? Well, because of that wild frat party you threw to celebrate you being a trifecta and blowing $17 billion.
Speaking of that, are the numbers in yet on the money the state has earned in 2024? We want to compare that, the tax revenue from 2024 to the current overspending.
I'd like to.
I don't know if the numbers are in yet.
I don't have that. He insults every taxpayer in this state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yes,
he's
he does.
bad. He's the worst governor in the history of this state, if not this country. Well, George Wallace was pretty bad. You know?
Had some issues,
I just, and you know, Tim. One of the reasons the private schools are much cheaper than public education is they don't have your statism wrapped up in it. Each private school that I'm aware of does not have 5 assistant principals. They usually have 1. They don't have to undergo the layers and layers and layers of bureaucracy. And also, Tim, you probably look real good to the union that supports you too, Education Minnesota. We shouldn't throw any money at that. You're throwing it to taxpayers who pay twice. They're already paying for public education. And 50 years ago, you had legislators wise enough to acknowledge that choice was a credible thing for parents to have. This could not happen today. No. This would not happen today with these heathen activists we have in there who are completely ruining this state. And Walz is completely ruining this state financially.
I have an answer to my question.
Oh.
In fiscal year 2024, Minnesota collected an estimated $29.8 billion in net general fund receipts. This included $14.8 billion from net individual and corporate income taxes and $7.5 billion from net sales and use taxes.
Mm-hmm. And that's not nearly enough to cover a $6 billion deficit because the budget has grown overwhelmingly under the DFL trifecta frat party situation.
Hey, we used to do that to pay our mortgage.
Right.
We'd buy a keg and sell glasses for $4 a piece. Maybe Minnesota needs a kegger.
They're doing it too, but they're taking the money from you to throw the party for themselves.
Yes, yeah.
Where's
They're
the
taking
party?
your beer $5 and they're putting it in their kitty.
They took a good thing and they wrecked it.
Yeah. Why don't we return with Mr. Haidt?
We will, but first, if you're trying to save up money to send your kid to private school, might I suggest my friends at North American Banking Company? Spring is in the air, GLers, so if you've got a new project or expense that's coming up, then why not put your home's equity to work? And that's because a home equity line of credit from North American Banking Company is going to give you flexible access to funds when you need them most. And it doesn't matter whether it's a home project at the home or the cabin, an unexpected expense or something else. Their experts make it easy. Oh, I forgot to put up the graphic. Why don't I do that right now? North American Banking Company has one simple philosophy, and that is this. It's banking done differently. And you get that feeling anytime you walk in any one of their 6 beautiful Twin Cities locations. You can see them in Roseville, 50th in France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, and also Maple Grove. They do offer all of the services as the other big national banks, whether you're looking to buy a home, finance a new home renovation project, or get that new car that you've been dreaming about. My friends at North American Banking Company are going to be able to help you out. They also offer all of the same online and mobile banking options as the other banks, but the key difference is you're going to get the unparalleled service of a community bank. So your first step is to check them out online today. It's nabankco.com to learn more. Once again, it's banking done differently. North American Banking Company, member FDIC, is an equal housing lender.
Why doesn't this play?
I don't know. Need help over there? Here's a guy.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
And while you're in that hardware store, you know what you're looking for, right? Deep creep. Deep creep. Buy it by the can, buy it by the case. I don't care. Buy as much as you need. Because you will need it. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. It works on absolutely everything. Of course, it's going to do all the other things that penetrating oils do, but it's going to do everything better. It cleans, it protects, it revives rusty parts, lubricates, displaces moisture, and resists evaporation and extreme heat. The best part, wherever you find your fine automotive chemicals is where you'll find Deep Creep. And like I said at the start, get more than one can. I've got a can in the truck, a can in the shop, a can in the house, a can in the garage. I've got this stuff everywhere because you need it everywhere, and you may as well have it on hand. Stock in your own supply of Deep Creep the next time you find yourself in an auto parts store or a hardware store, big box. It's everywhere. Another fine product from our friends at Seafoam, Deep Creep.
You'll never believe what I use Deep Creep on. A really
key,
nice,
a lock, a padlock.
No, a real nice binoculars, but the knurled knob to turn and focus was not turning easily enough to my liking, and sure enough, it is now because I gave her a little shot of Deep Creep.
My favorite is one of our guys out in Montana recommended spraying it on the zipper on the windows, the canvas window of his side-by-side, because those big, heavy-duty zippers get really hard to pull up and down.
Absolutely.
Oh, my God, it's like butter now.
Here's John Haidt.
Thank you, Joe. This news brought to you by North American Banking Company. A Farmington man is facing charges after allegedly stabbing his wife several times and dragging her through a home in front of a witness. 52-year-old Mehdi Badoui was charged with one count of attempted first-degree murder yesterday and one count of attempted second-degree murder. Dakota County officials say Farmington police were called to the home on April 15th on a report of domestic assault. A witness at the house told police she woke up to yelling and saw Badoui stab the victim before dragging her through the kitchen. Badoui's wife was found by law enforcement lying in a pool of blood with a series of stab wounds. She was brought to the hospital for emergency surgery. Medical staff at the hospital said the victim was stabbed at least 10 times. Police found Badoui, who had blood on one of his hands, in the garage of the home and arrested him. He's currently in custody at the Dakota County Jail, due in court May 1st for his next hearing.
And she's going to live.
It sounds like it, yes.
Oof.
Another Minnesota city is setting minimum prices on tobacco in an effort to curb use, with an even more expensive price for vaping products. St. Anthony Village now becomes the third city in the state and the first metro suburb to take the step. It joins Minneapolis and St. Paul, according to the Association of Non-Smokers Minnesota, which helped create the ordinance. Most tobacco products, including cigarettes, cigars, and snus, will be set to at least $15, with vaping products committed to following state law by not selling tobacco products to those younger than 21, and that this new ordinance is unfair to stores and adult users. Here are the specifics from the city. $20 minimum price for any type of e-cigarette device, $15 minimum price for packs of cigarettes and standard size cans of smokeless tobacco, caps tobacco retail licenses at zero with a reduction through attrition, and prohibits the use of coupons and price promotions for tobacco and vaping products, and increases penalties for retailers who sell tobacco to people under the age of 21.
Do our brothers and sisters in the Native community, do they sell cigarettes cheaper?
I believe it's a tax thing, isn't it? Yeah.
You said community.
I did. But that's an hour. I'm not paying $20 to smoke. God almighty.
It's been a while, but the last time I was in a casino, it was still a free country in there. You could smoke on the floor, smoke in your room, smoke in the elevator, smoke in the buffet line. You can smoke everywhere.
You can't in the casino I go to. They have a small smoking designated area.
Are there any games to play over there? You just have to sit there morose and sad.
There's games, but the room is about the size of this room I'm in right now.
You ever see a smoker take the cigarette through the hole in his throat?
That was
That's
one
a
of
nice
my
scene.
It was one of my goals in life, Joe, to smoke that long to where I could smoke out of my tracheotomy hole.
Guys,
but unfortunately,
gotta have goals.
That's a goal, isn't it?
I had to give it up. I never did reach that goal.
Is there anything worse than checking in a hotel and realizing that there's smoking still allowed in said hotel?
No, it's dreadful.
Are you kidding me?
Oh.
What is wrong with you?
I don't want to smell somebody
Are
else's
you a
smoke.
communist?
No,
Yes.
other than the fact that I have asthma.
Oh, you poor, frail little thing.
Wow.
This is America.
Argument on the show. I told you guys this $1 million when I was playing bands and you could still smoke in the bars. I would open my guitar case the next day, and it was just horrendous. My guitar reeked.
One of the things I miss about smoking is that haze on the inside of my windshield, because that would cut the glare of the sun down. It was really convenient.
Like it was a free tint.
Crews battled a fire on the Minnesota Renaissance Festival grounds last night. It damaged multiple buildings. Stephanie Whips, a spokesperson for the Renaissance Festival, said she got the call about 6 in the evening. She said the fire was put out, but not before it destroyed 6 booths near the jousting area. There were lightning strikes reported in the area around that time. However, an official cause is yet to be determined by the state fire marshal. Firefighters say the flames were hard to put out because there's not a big water supply in that area. Adding about a dozen other departments were needed to help knock everything down. It took about 2 hours to completely extinguish the blaze. Now, the Renaissance Festival doesn't kick off for another 4 months. The spokesperson says they plan to start cleaning up and rebuilding as soon as possible.
I learned something from that story, John.
What's that?
I did not know the Renaissance Festival had permanent structures. I figured they came in there every fall and threw up a tent or something.
Now they own the whole property, I
They
believe.
have buildings and infrastructure.
You've never been?
I have not.
You've not been.
No.
You didn't go see Funky and Cold Medina or whoever that comedy
Puke
team
and
was?
snot.
Yeah, Puke and Snot.
Pat and I kind of took care of that client because they were on the show with us, and Pat said, "You're not funny."
I don't get it.
I was unaware. We've seen the stories recently that Penn and Teller are coming back this year.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's where they got their start.
I didn't.
Are you
either.
kidding me?
Minnesota Renaissance Festival.
Really?
Yeah, and they're coming back this year to do a special show there.
You know, I
50th
live
anniversary.
about, 10 minutes from that place. The worst is when that's going on because 169 becomes even more unbearable than it already is. But the main reason to go to the Renaissance Festival is the tomato wall, where you got the guy that sticks his head out of the thing and then he hurls insults at you and you get to fire tomatoes at his skull.
I'd do it if it was walls.
Yeah.
I would have to be 911 ER emergency room high to go to a Renaissance festival. I can't imagine attending.
John?
Let me tell you one more Renaissance Festival story. I had a neighbor, God bless him, lived across the street, Tony, wonderful guy. He's the guy that laughed heartily when I fell into my yard waste bin.
Right. I would have too, by the way.
Great guy who has now moved, but every year he and his wife would dress up and go to the Renaissance Festival.
Oh.
At which point I'd see him walk out of their house and I'd walk into my house so that I didn't say anything.
Well, what kind of costume?
Oh, like a medieval.
Well, they weren't a horse where she was in the front and he was in the back. Or...
Like a medieval,
be tough to
big
drive.
Blousy, shirt with
boy.
the vest and the pants.
Huzzah!
Exactly.
In South Minneapolis, I had lived across the street from a park, had a couple of neighbors that were like fence sword fighters.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
And before the festival, they'd go down there and practice, and they'd be shouting at each other in their lingo, like, "Yeah, you're a horse's ass, I say." That kind of nonsense.
Were they performers at the Renaissance?
Yeah, it's sword fighters. And the cops would show up every year.
Oh, man.
God, seriously?
People would call 911. Hey, there's some guys sword fighting in the park.
Meanwhile, another fire. We talked about this one a bit. Star Tribune reporting a lightning strike is believed to have sparked a fire that damaged the steeple of a century-old church in St. Paul. A video posted on the St. Paul Fire Department's Facebook page showed flame shooting from the steeple atop the Trinity Norwegian Evangelical Lutheran Church as crews raced to the scene in the 500 block of Farrington Street in the city's Frogtown neighborhood. The department said the official cause of the fire is still under investigation, but preliminary investigation suspects a lightning strike. The fire was reported yesterday about 5:30 in the afternoon, was extinguished, and did not extend inside the building, according to the fire.
Very eerie fire.
Very creepy looking video. Yep. Why don't we take a short break here and come back with some national and international news.
The Earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
In national and international news, follow up to a story from yesterday. And Joe, this is your 24 to 48 hour rule because we didn't get all these details until today, really. At least 2 people were killed, 6 others wounded at that Florida State University's Tallahassee campus shooting yesterday after a student opened fire near the student union. The 2 people killed in the attack were not students. Police say they're still investigating the shooter's motive. They did identify the suspect as 20-year-old Phoenix Eichner, a member of the Sheriff's Office Youth Advisory Council, whose mother is a Leon County Sheriff's deputy. He was apprehended after being shot by law enforcement and is hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries. The suspect was carrying a shotgun and a handgun, the latter of which was purchased by his mother for personal use. The New York Post reporting Eichner touted white supremacist views that raised serious concerns among his classmates, including things like Rosa Parks was in the wrong and that black people were destroying his community. One classmate from Eichner's former school, Tallahassee State College, recalled how he was asked to leave a political roundtable over his hate speech during the club's meetings. University officials have canceled all classes and campus activities through this weekend. Luigi Mangione indicted yesterday on a federal murder charge in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, a required step as prosecutors work to make good on the Trump administration's order to seek the death penalty for what's being called a premeditated, cold-blooded assassination that shocked America. Mangione's indictment, returned by a federal grand jury in Manhattan, includes a charge of murder through use of a firearm, which carries the possibility of the death penalty. The indictment, which mirrors a criminal complaint brought after his arrest last December, also charges him with stalking and a gun. offense.
Plus, he's a terrible coward. He should have yelled out the guy's name and at least shot him in the front.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio and his aides shut down a State
Well,
Department.
I don't think he should have shot him at all. What I meant was he shot him in the back.
That's why I thought I'd move on.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think that was important.
I'll be
to
fine.
clarify.
I'll be fine.
Okay, we're good. We're good.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio and aides have shut down a State Department office that tracks and counters global disinformation from foreign actors, including the governments of China, Russia, and Iran. The closing of the office, the Counter Foreign Information Manipulation and Interference Hub, it's a long title, had been in the works for weeks. Rubio put all 40 or so of its employees on paid leave Wednesday morning. The State Department fired about 80 contractors working for the office in March and cut almost all contracts related to its work. The office had been tracking disinformation campaigns by rival powers of the U.S., as well as terrorist groups, and publishing reports on them. Some Republican lawmakers in recent years have accused federal employees and non-government experts working on tracking disinformation of trying to stifle the views of right-wing political groups around the world and trying to coordinate with social media companies to do so. Russia and Chinese disinformation often circulates in those far-right online channels.
I believe what Joe was trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, was this isn't NOM. We got rules.
There's rules.
Yeah.
Got rules.
Gotcha.
That was on this morning.
It was.
On the BBC.
Oh, how long did you stick with it?
Well, I had to come to work.
About 10,000 pages of records related to the 1968 assassination of Senator Robert F. Kennedy were released today, continuing the disclosure of national secrets ordered by President Trump. Kennedy fatally shot June 5, 1968 at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles, moments after giving a victory speech for winning California's Democratic presidential primary. His assassin, Sirhan Sirhan, was convicted of first-degree murder, is serving life in prison. The U.S. National Archives and Records Administration posted 229 files containing those 10,000 pages to its public website. Many files related to the senator's assassination had been previously released, but others had not been digitized and sat for decades in storage facilities maintained by the federal government until now. The release of the RFK files comes a month after unredacted files related to the 1963 assassination of his brother, President John F. Kennedy. Those documents gave curious readers more details about Cold War-era covert U.S. operations in other nations, but didn't initially lend credence to long-circulating conspiracy theories about who killed JFK. Astronomers have detected the most promising signs yet of life outside the solar system, although they remain cautious.
They're out there.
Using data from the James Webb Space Telescope, the astronomers led by the University of Cambridge have detected the chemical fingerprints of dimethyl sulfide and or dimethyl disulfide in the atmosphere of the exoplanet K2-18b, which orbits its star in the habitable zone. On Earth, DMS and DMDS are only produced by life, primarily microbial life, or microbial, as I once said in the newscast, such as marine phytoplankton. While an unknown chemical process may be the source of those molecules in K2-18b's atmosphere, the results are the strongest evidence yet that life may exist on a planet outside our solar system.
Well, not only is that true, that they're out there, but I have some interesting news coming up for you regarding this.
Do you notice what they're doing? I think they're easing us into it.
Well, and I have some good news for you regarding that. I have some very good news.
Okay.
And those of you that didn't hear John, microbial is very small bile.
Yeah, it's a very tiny bile.
An extremely rare cover of the Nirvana album Nevermind, which was signed by all members of the band, has been sold for the American equivalent of $20,000. The three Nirvana members signed the LP after a 700-person gig at the Bierkeller in Bristol in 1991 before they hit global stardom. The record sleeve was autographed for a local fan by Kurt Cobain, Dave Grohl, and Chris Novoselic.
Doesn't that seem low? $20,000?
That's more than I would have paid.
Well, fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
After being stored for more than 30 years in a loft, the sleeve went under the hammer at auctioneers Wessex Auction Homes in Wiltshire on Wednesday. Auctioneer and music specialist Martin Hughes told the BBC the album was possibly the best signed example ever to come to market and called it extremely rare. The Nevermind album propelled Nirvana into international success with millions of copies sold worldwide. The gig in Bristol, where the album cover was signed, was part of their Nevermind European tour, which was early. They were not yet superstars. But during that tour, they played in Italy, Germany, and Edinburgh.
Oh, they played everywhere on that tour. Yeah. That was a good year to see those guys because 15 minutes later, they were the biggest thing in the world.
Paleontologists have discovered 100-million-year-old fossilized footprints in the Canadian Rockies that reveal the first known tracks of three-toed, club-tailed armored dinosaurs, filling a gap in the fossil record. The footprints, this is going to be tough here, by the way, belong to an ankylosaurid, part of a larger group of Ankylosaura dinosaurs that were heavily armored herbivores from the late Jurassic to Cretaceous periods.
They had cankles, right? Really thick ankles, John.
Yes, and they were also, Kenny, known for bony plates. They even had bony plates on their eyelids that would cover their eyes.
What is today's dinosaur? Did they were so thoroughly wiped out that there is no biological link to a dinosaur?
For everything dinosaur related, you should talk to Judd Zolgad, who's still
dinosaur
trying.
Guy?
Yeah, he's trying to figure out what was the purpose of the dinosaurs anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, what the hell's the deal with the dinosaurs?
But there's no living creature that has a genetic connection to the dinosaur.
Birds.
I was going to say, according to the American Museum of Natural History, in an evolutionary sense, birds are a living group of dinosaurs because they descended from the common ancestor of all dinosaurs.
I'll be damned.
What are the giant lizards?
Komodo dragons.
Yeah. Wouldn't those be?
Those are, you can get those. Those are like serpents.
Crocodiles, alligators, any of that stuff?
Joe, have you heard about the bird?
No, I haven't.
Oh, jeez. Ankylosaurs, by the way, are estimated to have been up to 30 feet long and weigh over 10,000 pounds.
I wonder if they were good eating. Not a dumb question. Of course, there wasn't anybody around to eat them.
There was no humans when there were dinosaurs.
No caveman to go through that armor and have a barbecue.
That's correct, Kenny.
Caveman? What about all the movies I saw from the 50s?
Well, those would be incorrect.
Damn.
I bet that meat was tough.
Yeah.
You
got to add some sauce probably to it.
Like liver.
Yeah.
Liver.
Liver's good. I love liver.
Gross.
You love
I love liver.
Well, that explains a lot, doesn't it?
I think I had it once.
With onions? Liver and onions?
And onions. Yeah.
We're doing this segment without Matthew. We shouldn't be doing that.
The food thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I got news for you. He has no taste. If it ain't Wonder Bread, he ain't eating it.
Well, it doesn't matter.
No, but he would poo-poo liver.
He's the food guy.
I know, but he
show respect.
He has no respect for liver and onions. He has no idea.
That's the worst smell in the world. Oh, my dad used to cook that up about once a week. It's just awful.
Dirty underpants.
It's just great. It's just great.
Gross.
Are you done, John?
Say that. I can do one more if you'd like. Or
I want you to
stop.
I want you to.
Whatever you'd like me to.
One more, John.
I don't like that story though. That's the only one I got.
Can you take us out on a high note?
Well, that's not going to be a high note. So let me see what I can find, Joe.
He's going to
that
make up the
Nirvana
news on the
story reminded me. Have you ever collected autographs from musical superstars?
I have not.
I have some hanging on my wall right here that are autographed when I was writing for vintage guitar. Some of my favorite
John,
guitars.
you're supposed to be looking for a story right now. This is a killing some time question.
I'm sorry.
I got Maurice Richard, Joe DiMaggio, Brooks Robinson. I've got some other baseball player.
Chris?
Gene Mauch.
Oh.
But I don't know where any of them are.
You asked for these autographs when you were a sports writer? That is not cool, man.
Brooks, yes, but I think the rest of them, no. Because wasn't that Brooks' last game? That's why you went down to...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got, I know I'm supposed to be looking, but I got Jeff Baxter, Marty Stewart, Jeff Golub, and I have a Bruce Springsteen one that my wife got because he was at Dayton's when she worked there.
I had Ali. I don't know where it is.
That would be cool.
I had Ron Wood on a paper plate. But then I had a grilled cheese sandwich on that plate, and it kind of got smeared up, so I threw it away.
John, you don't have to come up with another one.
That's good because I'm not finding anything.
Why don't we take a time out when I want to tell you about something.
You got to tell me.
Well,
what do you got over there?
I'm going to tell you about our friends at the Center of the American Experiment. They are a great news source in the Twin Cities because they're covering the things that the Minneapolis paper generally does not. Right now, they want to make you aware of the core tenets of ethnic studies. It's being debated in the legislature, and they want to steer you to a site so you can make yourself knowledgeable about what they really have in mind. RadicalRepeal.com. What the state government would like to bring to the even the small kids, the first graders, the third graders, the sixth graders, are examples of ethnicity, equality, and liberation. Third graders would have to study solidarity movements, with the teacher asking questions like, how do institutions like schools oppress groups based on race? It can't even tie your shoe. Why are you worried about that stuff? That's just BS. Sixth graders study how race is socially constructed. Well, in other words, it's all a way to remind little white kids that they're evil. And you can find out more about this at the Center of the American Experiment. Great website, great seminars, great programs when the local YMCA allows you to be present. And you can find out everything you want to know at AmericanExperiment.org, AmericanExperiment.org.
Gotta go potty?
Nope.
Truth, justice, and the Souchere Earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
Patrick Royce's appearance normally on Garage Logic is brought to us by our friends at the Canopy Group, Joe.
Is that why you did that?
Yes.
Did you call his home number?
Yep. Disconnected.
Lord.
We have a man.
It's Good Friday.
Yeah. A man allegedly tied to 6 different incidents of vandalism of Tesla vehicles in Minneapolis is in custody.
How'd they get him?
Well, I'm going to tell you how they got him. This is a good lesson for the Gumption County Institute for the Criminally Incompetent. Police said Thursday afternoon that the suspect could face felony charges for allegedly causing more than $21,000 worth of damage to the targeted vehicles. Well, here's the problem, pal. The Tesla is basically a rolling camera. And the cars filmed you while you were doing this. The cars filmed you, pal. That's how stupid you are.
What's fun when you see that footage, you see them giving the furtive glances, looking back and forth to see if anybody's looking. The whole time they're on camera.
The Chief O'Hara said, essentially, Teslas are rolling video cameras. And frankly, this is really stupid. There's high-quality video on all these cars. It's committing a crime with a spotlight on you while the video is playing. This moron did this, and it was filmed, and they didn't have a hard time finding him. I don't know what Mary Moriality will do with it. I would charge him with a felony. 21 grand worth of damage.
Have we ever, in the history of the United States, done such a dramatic flip-flop? And I know we've probably talked about this before, but the Tesla was a crowning achieving badge of the left, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And the right hated it and made fun of it nonstop. And now it's completely 100% opposite. Has that ever happened in this country?
I'm sure it has, but I can't think of a better example than the Tesla. But here's the problem. It shows you that these euphorians were never committed to the earth in the first place. They were just in for the fad. And I want people to know, despite my finding electric cars disagreeable, I would never vandalize one. I don't care if you have an electric car. I love to give Garofalo grief. He's probably having the last laugh. He's got 400,000 miles on that tin can.
He's been scratching it up for 10 years.
Oh, my God. He's probably got the bad fogged out headlights.
Looks like Archie's jalopy at this point.
I have a quiz for you all. It'll probably require hints. The first hint was a story John just had in the news about scientists finding
Dinosaurs.
microbial
Yeah.
organisms on some planet BX3 or something that Tesla would or Musk would name a kid that. Minnesota has made the top 10 of states most likely to what? And your first clue was it's not necessarily unrelated to the finding of microbial matter.
It's not declare bankruptcy or anything.
Yeah, I was going the fraud angle myself.
No, it's nothing to do with fraud.
Okay.
Minnesota has made the top 10 states most likely to what?
To claim
I got this
that-
from Sanibel Jim.
to claim that dinosaurs would love living here. We're the best.
In some odd way, you're on the right track.
Wow. Okay.
By accident, you were on the right
sure.
track.
And what's really weird is the hint you gave was not the dinosaur story, but the planet story.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So Chris,
Wait a minute, Reuvers.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm doing some linking.
Boy, you fooled me there.
That's right.
You had me fool me once.
Dinosaur microbial.
Want another hint?
Yeah, of course.
Minnesota is one of 10 states most likely to survive what?
Nuclear winter.
Nope.
Dang it. Because it gets cold here.
Some sort of natural disaster because of the winters. Global warming.
Another virus.
Nope.
An invasion of some type? Okay. Dinosaurs invasion. We would survive.
Asian lady beetle bugs.
Nope.
Invasive carp.
Minnesota would be one of the 10 states most likely to survive an alien invasion.
Oh.
Why?
Well, I'm getting to that.
Too cold.
Some outfit called, I mean, this is worth the paper it's printed on. Some outfit called Giga Calculator determined the states most likely to survive the event. They considered factors like terrain and the percentage of area covered by forest, water, and the number of caves, population density, essential personnel, for example, active and inactive military workers, law enforcement officers, and engineers per 1,000 people. The website then calculated a score for each state based on these data points and ranked them to see which U.S. state has the highest chance of enduring an alien invasion. According to the report, many states located in the southeast and northeast seem better equipped for the disaster. The southeast takes 4 out of 10 spots on the list, while the northeast occupies 2. More specifically, Virginia has the highest likelihood of survival, with a score of 8.06 out of 10. That state boasts the third highest percentage of military members in the country. It also has plentiful forests and caves. I presume what they intend for us to do is hide in the cave, maybe? Alabama trails behind with an alien invasion survival score of 7.9 out of 10 because they have more caves than Virginia. Massachusetts is third. On the other hand, for Nevada's chances don't look good. The state is the least. Isn't that odd? That's where the Area 52 is.
One.
Huh?
Yeah.
Area 51?
True.
Was it? What area is it?
51.
51.
52, 53.
It's all the same.
Nevada has been named the least.
neighbor.
Nevada has been named the least likely to make it through an invasion, scoring just 5.27 points out of 10. This might be because 75% of Nevada is considered desert. Nevadans might be more mentally prepared for an alien encounter, however, considering they reside in the home of Area 51. All right, here's your top 10. Number 1, Virginia. You live in Virginia, you're going to survive the alien invasion. Number 2, Alabama. Number 3, Massachusetts. Number 4, New York. Number 5, Minnesota.
Woohoo!
Top 5 even, not even just top 10.
Number 6, Florida.
You know what? I'm not buying any of this.
No, well, you think
I've got my own list going.
Number 7, Wisconsin. Number 8, North Carolina. Number 9, Alaska. And finally, number 10, Georgia. Now, neither Dakota made it.
Which
That's
one?
probably because of an absence of forests and caves.
Why wasn't West Virginia number 1?
Probably
It's-
a lack of military personnel and engineers.
But the whole state, you can hide in the whole state.
That's true. I got news for these people who put this list together. If aliens invade, do you really think they're susceptible to our conventional American military? They got, they're superpowers. They're different. They're like plasma people.
Well, let's clarify one point on here. It's the most likely to. It's the most likely to survive. This still doesn't mean you're going to survive.
That Pat?
Yes.
Wait, is that Royce?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get him on. We got to talk to him. So you don't think the aliens will be susceptible to my blunderbuss?
No. They're here. They've already been here. And
That story is complete BS.
well, of course it is.
B isn't B.
Of course
S
it is.
isn't.
Why would you be any more likely to survive in Minnesota than when you step across the line? It's Iowa.
And who's saying they're coming in anger?
That's right.
Because
Pat?
we're just...
Pat,
Hello? Yes, sir.
do you have it on airplane mode again?
No, this time I had it on silence for some reason. I don't know.
Where are you? You sound like you're in the next room.
I'm home. I'm sitting on this chair and hacking out a column, and why I had it on silence, God only knows. I have no idea.
Well, I think Joe wants to address some things to you, Mr. Hockey, about what happened earlier in the week.
On Tuesday, you've been getting quite a bit of fun email about this. People are now calling you Mr. Hockey. On Tuesday, when we had Monday Night Sports Talk, you predicted in advance of that night's game between the Wild and Anaheim that Zeev Buium probably would play the entire game.
Yes.
And you also
30 minutes.
Yes, and you also said there's not a chance in hell that they'll let Fleury anywhere near the ice. Well, Zeev Buium didn't play 1 second, and Fleury came in to get the win, the ceremonial victory in overtime.
Well, yes, because they already had the point because they knew he couldn't piss away the playoffs.
I understand that. But you
they
were.
wouldn't have brought him. They wouldn't have let him in the arena if they needed to win. I would have told you that.
Royce, you and me and my roommate are the only 3 people in Minnesota that don't think Fleury's a big deal.
I don't think it's a big deal.
Yeah, me neither.
Not ours. It's not ours. It's like who came through here for a year that did we
Be like Steve Carlton when he pitched for the Twins in '87.
That's right. It'd be like Carlton.
Our guy.
Hey, Fleury's been here, 4 or 5 years now?
I think it's 2 or 3.
Okay, more than 1.
Yeah, it's okay, but last time he gave up 7. Do you think they were going to throw him out there and say, hey, we're down 2-0. Maybe Fleury's the guy we need to keep it out here, and we can come back and win an overtime.
Did you see the start time for the first Wild playoff game?
Is that the 10 p.m.er?
9 p.m. Sunday, and then the next game's
Tuesday.
Tuesday is at 10 p.m. our time.
Yeah. You know what I predict for that one?
Not a lot of audience.
Yeah, overtime at 1:48 a.m. our time. And somebody will be putting in a goal. Those things can last.
Kenny, you'll be able to wake up and watch OT.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Why would it be 10? I don't get it. Is it like a triple header or something?
8 o'clock Vegas time. I suppose it's a triple header on TNT or something.
Wow.
Yes, but generally speaking, even when the NBA has these grotesquely late games, it's like 9:30 max. You know? So
Now the Timberwolves have a reasonably start time on Saturday night, 7:30.
Yeah, and I think they got 1-9 or something, which is always 15, 20 minutes late. But yeah, it is. You know what? You're going to open up your Star Tribune and see a lot of non-game stories in there with these start times. So they just sent out a schedule, and I looked at it, and it's pretty much all digital with those start times.
Are the games here going to start at a reasonable hour?
Yes, I think so. One of them is the Wolves. I mean, they each have one afternoon or next weekend, I think. So.
Really?
Yes.
Well, the benefit of the Wolves, too, is they're playing the Lakers, and they'll keep the Lakers in prime time as much as possible.
For LeBron?
Yeah.
Or that big donkey?
Both. They're both very popular. Yeah.
And our Twins will have an early start time tonight because they're on the East Coast. They're in Atlanta.
Yes, they will. And, boy, the entire... Did you see that new guy we picked up? I'm pretty excited about this guy, this infielder from Miami.
I didn't.
They got Bride, that's his name. They got him for cash considerations. Miami watched him for 2 weeks and let him go. And he was striking out at about a 70% rate, so I don't know how we pried him away from Miami. You know what they would have done in the old days when they got a report like that?
You're going back to the AHL.
Yeah, the scout there, they say, oh, man, he must be on a bender down there. We'll just ignore this.
Reuvers offer him $100. You can get him on town ball.
Oh, he could fit in really good with the Faribault Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the person.
Yep.
Anyway, it was, God, it's going to be hopping around here. I think that the Wild has a better chance to beat Vegas than the Timberwolves do to beat the Lakers. But I think they both got a fighting chance, maybe 60-70% against 2-1 underdogs, something like that.
Well, as the knowledgeable people have said, it's hockey.
It's a funny game.
Anything could happen.
Yep.
And
Vegas goes out there, jumps out. You know what you could have? You could have some guy from Vegas come out and sing a 9-minute national anthem, like the guy did in Pittsburgh 100 years ago, and a team comes out flat and you win game one. That could happen. Remember that guy, BJ, whatever the hell his name was?
I'm trying to remember. I don't recall that.
Oh, that was the crowd was booing the anthem before he was done.
Not B.J. Thomas.
No.
Okay.
Some, Collar or Kohler or something like. I can guarantee you, he never sang another anthem at a sporting event in Pittsburgh.
Are you hacking on a piece right now?
Yes, but not on either of these teams. I'm doing something else. So.
Well, we're in the spring high school season, but you're not doing any of that right now.
I went to a St. Thomas baseball game yesterday. I wrote that. They have a Johnny playing for the Tommies. I went over and saw that kid. He transferred to St. Thomas. So
I've seen photographs, or what do you call them? They're not photographs.
Video?
No, I've seen likenesses of what it's going to be like in that new basketball and hockey arena at St. Thomas.
Oh, the renderings.
Yeah.
Sure.
The rendering, it's really cool. It's pretty cool.
It'll be great.
The neighbors blew it. They needed to find a rare toad or something in there to block it, and they screwed up.
Environmental issues.
I will say, I wrote about it for tomorrow, and I did lead with the fact that there's many fewer just say no signs than there were. There's still a few, but not like they were when you were like last fall over there. Every yard had one. But
I have a friend who lives across the street, and he's got a very charitable attitude about it. He's not concerned at all. He thinks it's
gonna
great.
charge for parking.
He mentions that parking ramp was designed to have 2 more floors added to it anyway, and on and on and on. He's not concerned. He lives across the street.
Okay.
So there are people there that aren't worried about it.
You know what their big traffic problem is? People
Yeah.
going around and around and around the blocks,
That's true.
praying, hoping that some jackass will be moving their car from Summit or Cretin so they can sneak in there for a couple hours. It's the worst. It's got a few sporting events is not going to relieve that. I found a parking spot yesterday on Cretin, and I was so damn happy I couldn't stand it. And then they had a little opening in so you could walk through the football stadium to go over there instead of walk down.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. But if you're a fan wanting to go to a Tommy's baseball game in the afternoon, you need the best luck in the world because you need a parking spot, and they're impossible to find because they say permit only, permit only, permit only.
Yeah. That's the old joke about the drunk Irishman who was late for the doctor's appointment.
Oh my, what happened?
And he said, "Oh dear God, get me a parking spot and I'll quit drinking forever. I need to get a parking spot." And just then a car pulled out and he pulled in. And he said, "Never mind, I just found one." I have to laugh.
Can I share with you my favorite sports story of the week, gentlemen?
Why not?
The NFL owners' meetings were just recently, and one of the biggest debates was the tush push. Are we going to outlaw the tush push that the Eagles have made so famous? And then Barstool reran a story from years ago in which apparently dearly departed head coach Mike Leach, one of mine and Patrick's favorite college football coaches of all time, well, apparently he came up with a plan and he had to be talked out of putting a little person in the backfield and throwing him over the line of scrimmage in short yardage situations.
Brilliant.
That's not bad. That is not bad.
Dwarf tossing.
Yes. That would be cool.
Oh my God! I saw that story. And
Sail
I
a guy
about
right
died.
through the uprights, kill two
It's
stones
good.
with one bird.
You know that we didn't go to the Rose Bowl in 1962 for two reasons. One, a bogus roughing the passer penalty on Bobby Bell at Wisconsin. But two, they called the Gophers for assisting the ball carrier on the goal line, that someone pushed him from behind.
Really?
You could not do that back then. And I don't know when this became legal, but it's rugby, basically. That's what it is.
You got the Royce throat going.
Yeah, but I feel pretty good. A couple of days ago, I was sicker than a dog, but I'm okay now.
Well, maybe I'll see you Monday.
Oh, I'll be in for Monday. I wouldn't miss it. We can talk about it. Oh, by the way, you know what? This is Good Friday, and you're doing a show. You're lucky Mary Helen isn't around. You did
I've done a show on Good Friday for 50 years.
Yeah, I know. Good Friday ain't what it used to be. You know?
Well, it is, Pat. It's probably going to get dark.
How so?
It doesn't even get thundery. I was going to say, like at 2 o'clock, it doesn't even get thundery anymore.
Well, it's 3 o'clock. It's going to get overcast. And
I think he just gave up on us. I think he's not
It's pretty evident, actually.
you know what? You might be right. He just might say, you know what? I gave you guys a long shot at this.
I tried to remind you for years and years and years what you were getting into, and you just kept, eating
screwing up
on Good Friday and stuff. So, the hell with you.
All right.
That's what he said.
All right. Thank you.
Goodbye.
That's Pat's Easter message.
Yes, to hell with
Good Friday ain't what it used to be.
There's a great Doobie Brothers song called "How Do Those Fools Survive" that basically is that story.
Right.
The person asking that is God in the song.
See?
Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. And then come back.
That's right.
Okay.
Today is Friday. TGTI Friday. It's the scramble!
You have the da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, you need a little fanfare for this big time.
Da-da-da. Well, it's Friday, so it's time once again to recognize one of our loyal Gumption County residents as the GLer of the week. You don't even have to do anything, do you?
Yes. Well, you have to have a
You got to be a town
annual
council member.
council member.
But I mean, you just get picked out of a hat, don't you?
Correct.
Today we salute Scott Johnson of Maple Lake, Minnesota.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Scott, for supporting Garage Logic as a faithful member of the town council.
Wait a minute.
Anybody know him?
I don't know him.
Doesn't he write for Powerline Blog or
No, you're
American-
thinking of
American Experiment?
no, Scott Johnson. Might be. Thank you. And you get our warmest personal regards in addition to a $50 gift box of Masters Maples syrup products.
Fantastic.
And that's fantastic. Listen every Friday. We're going to salute a town council member each and every week throughout 2025 as GLer of the week. If you are not a town council member yet, go to garagelogic.com and sign up for the annual membership today. It's cheap at half the price.
Well, let's do some math here. Does anybody know the price, the value of this big box of
$50.
Oh, it's $50.
$50 gift
Okay.
box.
All right.
And you
And
too-
$100 to join.
Is
right?
it?
Yeah, so you get basically half your money back just by winning.
You win
That's all
once
right.
and you got half your money back.
That's nice.
right.
Is there anything preventing somebody from winning twice?
Yes.
Oh, all right. So, Scott Johnson of Maple Lake, congratulations. And last week it was Rockets Red Glare.
And if you'd like to be eligible, just go to garagelogic.com and sign up for an annual town council membership. And if you don't have one yet, then upgrade to
I'm
an
sorry.
annual town
There
council
is a
membership.
Scott Johnson that writes for Powerline Blog.
It's probably him.
He's probably a GLer.
Only because they come to us all the way from Marloth Park in Mpumalanga Province, South Africa, the current residing place of the Lymans. It was on this day.
Joe, today is April 18th.
In 1807, the first recorded mention of farming by white Minnesotans was made in a letter. Whoops, I have to have this one.
1807?
Yep. Was written in a
Really?
letter by George H. Monk, who noted crops of potatoes, oats, cabbages, beets, beans, pumpkins, and Indian corn being cultivated at the Northwest Company's fur trading posts on Sandy and Leech Lakes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. On this day,
Joe, today is April 18th.
soldiers at Fort St. Anthony, later, of course, Fort Snelling, viewed Minnesota's first officially recorded tornado, which damaged the barracks roof. Isn't that something?
Man.
Do you think they knew what a tornado was? Or were they seeing it for the first time and were terribly frightened?
Said, looky there.
This is why I keep showing up every day. This
really is.
This right here is the reason.
So you can't beat this day in history.
No, you can't beat Joe Souchere
Right.
and his little asides.
On this day, and finally on this day,
On April 18th.
in 1888.
Do you think this was the first one I ever saw?
Well, no, think about it. Maybe
I am.
tornadoes weren't, in
They
the
weren't
news.
invented yet?
Yeah. They hadn't been invented yet.
Yeah.
We just made them up in about 1820.
Well, global warming.
This
Yeah.
is a demo. This one's pro bono.
Demo tornado. It only took a little barrack roof off. Well, you see what we got down the line with these things.
This is just the floor model.
It's going to be a big deal.
On this day,
On April 18th.
in 1888,
What?
I was laughing at that. What a dumb thing to say. Do you think it's the first time?
That's why we're here.
Yep. In this day, in 1888, on this day, in an unprecedented move and a milestone in Minnesota's labor history, 260 women employed at the clothing factory of Shotwell, Clarihue, and Lothman on 2nd Street in Minneapolis walked out, demanding that piece rates, which had been cut on the first of the year, be restored. Although the company agreed to make small reforms, few of the strikers returned to work. Due to lack of workers or to a boycott by sympathetic community members, Shotwell, Clarihue, and Lothman closed its doors a few months later. That's a neat name for a company. Shotwell, Clarihue, and Lothman. Sounds like a law firm, doesn't it?
Yes.
I have to go. I have some people at Shotwell, Clarihue, and Lothman taking care of things for me. And on a positive note, there are no sports disappointments recorded on this day in history.
Really? No North Stars?
So the
Nothing?
North Stars didn't lose. The Twins didn't lose. Nobody lost on this day in history.
Well, the Twins can maybe do that tonight. Something historically bad.
I think the Twins will be fine. I think it's a little early to completely write them off. I would like to see a little more fire in the belly.
Yeah, they need some fire. That's
Fire
for sure.
in the belly would be good. And thank you. And once again, congratulations to Scott Johnson of Maple Lake, Minnesota, the GLer of the week. He gets syrup for that.
Yes, and what you can do also
Maples.
is you should subscribe to the Garage Logic YouTube channel. That's right. Get this, ladies and gentlemen, we're only a couple hundred short of reaching 15,000 subscribers to the Garage Logic YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Yes, like and subscribe. And here's the deal. If you get to 15,000, we will announce that on the show on Monday, and make sure you click the bell for notifications on the Garage Logic YouTube channel, where you can watch the show each and every single day, starting right around noon. There's also full segments, video shorts, and behind-the-scenes footage in some cases, but it's all there for you at the Garage Logic YouTube channel. And follow us on all of our social media channels, which includes Facebook, Instagram, and X. And what am I missing? Oh, yeah, the Daily Logician, that email that comes right to your inbox each and every day. It also includes the most recent episode of